when an all-new street story.
Mike Tyson, still heavyweight champion of the world.
He was headed for greatness.
He would have been as great a heroic figure as Muhammad Ali.
But then came the crash.
You think Mike Tyson belongs in jail?
Damn right he belongs in jail. Just like anybody else who commits a rape belongs in jail.
Tonight, for the first time, Mike Tyson talks from prison.
The truth of the matter of what happened that night then is what?
We bring you an extraordinary look at the rise and fall of an American champion.
If a woman agrees to go out, does that automatically mean that she's agreed to have sex with him?
Oh, absolutely not. Hey, how you doing, my man? All right.
From the streets
They started stealing all the time.
Weren't you afraid that you'd get shot?
I was having fun. It was exciting. You might drop the guy with one punch.
to the ring
When you're heavyweight champ of the world, you believe that you can get away with anything.
to an Indiana jail cell.
This is a horrible place.
Good evening and welcome to Street Stories. I'm Ed Bradley. He was a great American success story, a street kid who fought his way out of poverty to astounding fame and fortune. But now, at the age of 25, he's in prison, serving a 6-year sentence for rape. Since his trial, Mike Tyson has been silent. We haven't seen or heard from him. He's refused all interviews until now. Tonight, during this hour, Tyson speaks out for the first time about that fateful night in Indianapolis, about his trial and his life behind bars. I spoke with him at the Indiana Youth Center, a medium security prison near Indianapolis. Several weeks earlier, he had been confined for a short time to an isolation cell for making what prison officials say were threatening remarks to a guard. I asked Mike Tyson to tell me what had happened.
Listen, Ed, you know, you're in prison. You're in something that's totally new to you. You know what I mean? On this kind of level. You get provoked. I was provoked. And I said things, and things happened, and I did my time for it. And it was it, and it was over.
Was there a lesson that came out of it?
There's some people in here that lie. You know what I mean? They don't look to the situation. You know what I mean? Because they have the authority, their way is the right way.
And you're talking about the prison guards who are here.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, there's people here that are good people. Don't get me wrong. There are good guards here. But you must think of the mentality that it takes for somebody that want to be a prison guard to have a dying thumb on somebody, to put their foot on somebody's neck. You know what I mean? It's the authority mostly, perhaps. Just the authority, being under that kind of authority from a person, which, in my mentality, I would say this person wouldn't even clean my toilet. And then, of course, power is addicting. Anybody wants power, regardless of what kind of power it is. They want it, and I guess this is their way of showing their power.
How have you adjusted to losing power?
I've never lost my power, you know what I mean? Because my power was always in me. My greatest asset is me. It's always me.
I know some of your friends were concerned that you might face some danger in prison, that somebody who doesn't have anything to lose might decide that he's going to make a name for himself and take you on. Do you ever think about that?
Hey, can I tell you something? Why would anybody, you know what I mean? What would he gain by it? Say he cut my throat, he beat me up, he killed me. What would he gain by it?
You feel threatened at all?
Just by the fact that I know that I'm not the most popular inmate in here because, you know what I mean, I stand up for what I believe in, you know what I mean? I basically say what's on my mind, and from prior experience, I know that could land me in a lot of trouble.
What about the inmates? How are the inmates treated you?
I haven't had any problems. Just, you know, sometimes when you walk, and you really couldn't understand this prison because it's not like a prison that you may think. You walk and people, like their homes, people yell out the window, this and that to somebody, and you mother this and this and that and this and that. And one day, so I said, Mike Tyson, you effing tree jumper. And I didn't know what a tree jumper was. I thought he meant like I was a great athlete or something, like jumping out trees. And I was telling him, what's a tree jumper? He said, tree jumper's a rapist. You know, you wait for little kids to go by, you jump out the tree and grab them. I said, oh, Christ. You know what I mean? I said, oh, I can't believe this. You know what I mean? And it just takes your mentality, and it puts you in a different assortment than anything else.
During our conversation, Tyson told me from what he sees, drugs, alcohol, and sex are a part of prison life. He says he minds his own business and reads a lot. Though he's trying to use his time constructively, he's still angry he's in jail because, as Harold Dow tells us, Tyson doesn't believe he belongs there and is appealing the rape conviction.
Michael Tyson didn't rape Desiree Washington. He's innocent of the charges, and if the full story had come out, he would have been acquitted.
You think Mike Tyson belongs in jail?
Damn right he belongs in jail. Just like anybody else who commits a rape belongs in jail.
This is Suite 606 in the Canterbury Hotel. Mike Tyson was sentenced to 6 years in prison for raping Desiree Washington in this room. But 4 months after his trial and conviction, there is still a lingering difference of opinion about what happened here.
I left Indianapolis, Indiana to see the world, but I came back and discovered the world in Indianapolis, Indiana.
The road that led to room 606 began during the Miss Black America pageant, where Tyson met Desiree Washington while taping this promotional video.
I'm in a dream, day after day. Beautiful women in such an array. Oh, we must try that again.
Contestant 8, Desiree Washington from Coventry, Rhode Island.
They agreed to go out that evening. Tyson called her from his limousine after midnight. They drove from her hotel to the Canterbury, just a block away, and went up to his room at about 1:30 in the morning.
The jury believed Washington, that she thought she was going up to Tyson's room to pick up something before they went out again. She says she had no idea that they were going up to his room to have sex. Washington says there had been no indications earlier in the day that that's what Tyson wanted. And once inside the bedroom, Washington says that's when Tyson changed, from a sweet, nice person to an animal.
The only issue in this case is what happened in that room on that night.
Attorney Alan Dershowitz is handling Mike Tyson's appeal.
There was possibly a terrible misunderstanding here between a man who understood the rules that operate between professional athletes and rock stars on the one hand and groupies, and a young woman who acted like a groupie, behaved like a groupie, came to the room like a groupie, and then decided after it was all over she didn't want to be treated like a groupie.
That argument was no good when it was made the first time.
Oh, great. We're going well. Very pleased.
Greg Garrison led the prosecution team for the state of Indiana.
Tyson and Washington agree that Tyson said to her after he finished with her, "You may stay the night." If she was a groupie trying to be successful, being invited to stay the night with the champ is a lot more important than just having sex with him and getting walked to the car. The argument falls on its face. Had that all happened and she was a groupie, she says, touchdown.
Do you have a problem? Yes, I'm calling to report a rape.
In fact, Washington left Tyson's room and 24 hours later called 911.
And the person started attacking me. Not attacking me, but like he's being very aggressive, trying to take my clothes off, and then just basically forced himself upon me.
She testified that he asked her in the middle of the sexual encounter, "Now, would you like to get on top?" And she testified that she responded, "Yeah." In her own mind, she said she responded, "Yeah," because that would put her in a better position to control the situation. So even her own testimony, discussions of whether he should use a condom, discussions about whether he was going to make her pregnant, this doesn't sound like a rape.
He has the faintest concept what he's talking about. He didn't get raped. He's a man. He doesn't know a damn thing about rape. He doesn't know about nightmares. He doesn't know about a ruined life that never gets better.
The littlest things, it doesn't really matter how much they cost. Sometimes are the prettiest things.
Dershowitz also points to Washington's behavior in the days after the incident.
It looks the best. Thank you.
She continued to participate in the pageant.
Hello, my name is Desiree. My ideal mate is athletic.
Washington says she wasn't about to quit, even though she was in pain.
Because I love a man who loves to debate.
But these days, Alan Dershowitz is less concerned with Desiree Washington's behavior.
Did Mike Tyson receive a fair trial in your courtroom?
I believe he did.
Then that of Judge Patricia Gifford.
This was not a judge. It was an advocate. It was a prosecutor in robes.
Did you want to talk to her at all?
No, no.
He's looking for trial mistakes by the state on which to base his appeal.
You can't have a fair trial when the prosecutor picks the judge. That's my point.
Garrison denies that happened, but it is possible in Indianapolis for a prosecutor to position a trial with a particular judge.
I've heard that argument advanced that because I have prosecuted rape cases that I shouldn't be trying them. I don't know that it gives me any more advantage, disadvantage. It probably gives me more insight into both sides.
She gave the wrong instruction.
Another appeal issue for Dershowitz? Gifford's instruction to the jury.
We went through everything. We wanted to be sure of what we did. We wanted to be fair.
One of the jurors in an interview said afterward, "We believe both Desiree Washington and Mike Tyson. The law is clear. You're supposed to acquit under those circumstances." And the judge gave the wrong instruction. It's a traditional instruction given all over the country, indeed all over the Western world. But the judge in this case failed to do it.
If Pat Gifford didn't give him a fair trial in this case, then they're suggesting that it's not possible in 1992 for anybody to get a fair trial ever in a case like this.
But there is one appeal element about the trial that everyone seems to agree is in question.
There's only one real issue, and that's these late-blooming witnesses that showed up on Sunday evening when I was going to rest on Monday morning.
He's referring to the 3 witnesses who said they saw Tyson enter the Canterbury Hotel with a woman on his arm at about 1:30 that morning.
They would have proved that the testimony of Desiree Washington was false.
To me,
Judge Gifford refused to let them testify, saying they didn't add anything new and had taken too long to come forward.
that is one of the issues that is up for appeal, so I'm not at liberty to comment on that.
I saw something and I feel that it may be important.
Later in this hour, you'll get to hear what the jury couldn't hear.
I saw 2 people hugging and kissing all over each other.
For the first time, one of the witnesses at the Canterbury Hotel that night speaks out.
I just want the truth to be told and everyone to tell the truth.
What do you say to the jury that convicted you? You think you got a fair shot?
Well, there's no way I could have got it. How could I have got a fair shot? I mean, I knew I was innocent. I knew from court procedures and what was going on, but I knew when I was in that court and when I was going to get that verdict, I knew the verdict was going to be guilty because of the mentality of the court and the mentality of the prosecutor.
What did you think of the prosecutor?
The prosecutor, I thought he was a racist, weak, publicity-happy little weak man, and I just felt it. But I was, I was always nervous and worried because I knew that it was going to take me away from people that I loved, but I was just prepared for it.
You were prepared to give it up?
It was something, that couldn't be stopped.
When we come back, Mike Tyson talks about who's in charge of his money now. And for the first time since his conviction, he tells us his version of what happened that night in Indianapolis.
I asked her to wear something short, like a short dress with some wide, loose, baggy shorts. And she came in the car, we kissed, and we were making out, okay?
You know, Harrison is a place where a lot of people said he'd end up.
Well, Ed, that's true. You know, Tyson once told me if it weren't for boxing, he'd be dead or in jail. But as we see, he was wrong. I first met him in 1985. He was only 18 years old. Few people knew who he was.
There were no large crowds. Tyson was living that lonely life, sweating out early morning workouts on the back roads of Catskill, New York. And in his spare time, tending his pigeons.
They're like my brothers and sisters, my friends. Because I don't have to worry about them asking me for any money or trying to get over me or do anything or trying to hurt me for any reason.
Catskill was worlds away from the mean streets of Brownsville, New York, where Tyson grew up.
It was pretty bad. It was nothing seeing people getting shot over dice games or killed over a dice game or something, or card games. It was part of life.
Tyson was a tough street kid. He admitted to being a hardened criminal by age 11.
I I became confident. If you could steal things and get away with it, we started stealing all the time. I was nervous and everything, but it was fun.
Tyson sounded grateful for the experience.
Thank you for letting me rob you, because if I never robbed you, I would never got arrested and I would never be here.
This coat was stolen by the fastest runner in the world.
But Tyson was rescued from the mean streets and his life of crime by legendary boxing trainer Cus D'Amato.
But a certain amount of paying something is good because it makes a person think they learn.
He was just like a great father. He did everything to make his son happy. The first day he even met me, he took me in his house. He didn't even know me.
You're going to do real damage. You might drop the guy with one punch.
D'Amato nurtured Tyson both in and out of the ring, but never lived to see him become champion. Tyson was 19, on the verge of stardom when D'Amato died. Tyson lost much more than a mentor.
He needed a father.
Camille Ewald lived with D'Amato. Today, she still considers Tyson her son.
Cus didn't have enough time at all. The time he only had, he gave him how to fight. That's about all. But actually, how to live, he didn't have enough time.
Hey, how you doing, my man? All right. You'll be the next champ or what? That's what I'm in the business for, of course.
But no one ever thought Tyson would take care of business like this. Tyson quickly smashed his way to the top.
Tyson misses with an uppercut, then lands a left hook, and the champion is down.
With this knockout of Trevor Berbick, November 22nd, 1986, Mike Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion in history, just 20 years old.
Thomas trying to hold on. Serious trouble, and down he goes.
Tyson was unstoppable inside the ropes.
And down goes.
But he quickly learned that in this game, only the ring is square.
In this business, the guys with the three-piece suits are bigger crips than the guys in Brownsville. They're horrible people.
Was that right? Because
The promoters, the managers, everyone's just horrible people.
Tyson made them all very, very wealthy. In June of 1988, Tyson earned over $20 million in just 91 seconds with this knockout of Michael Spinks.
The night of the Spinks fight, in my judgment, Mike Tyson was the second best fighter of all time.
Bill Caton managed Tyson's career from the beginning, but was forced out of his job the night of the Spinks fight.
Had he not been under the influence of those women and Don King, I believe he would have been as great a heroic figure as Muhammad Ali. He changed entirely. His marriage and Don King changed him into a different person.
At least that's what many people saw. After his marriage to Robin Givens and his association with Don King, Tyson's life seemed to unravel in full public view. Lawsuits, car accidents, and domestic brawls.
The Burnsville Police Department received a call indicating a disturbance was in progress at the Tyson residence.
Tyson seemed more violent out of the ring than in it, and on February 11th, 1990, he lost his championship when James Buster Douglas knocked him out.
What an uppercut by Douglas, and down goes Tyson.
Tyson never got a chance to regain his title, his career, his life, all derailed in Indianapolis. Don King is the man that many blame for Mike Tyson's problems both in and out of the ring. I came here to Cleveland and spoke with Don King at length, but under orders from his attorney, Don King refused to appear on camera. Don King is facing a grand jury investigation, and there are accusations that he mishandled Mike Tyson's money. Don King denies all of those accusations and says they all originate with Bill Caton. The charges and countercharges between King and Caton have been going on for years. But those closest to Mike Tyson say it all boils down to one thing.
They didn't care about Mike. They cared about money.
Camille Ewald says if Cus D'Amato were alive, none of these questionable things would have happened to Mike. Ed?
Thanks, Harold. I mentioned that to Tyson, and I asked him what he thought Cus would say today.
Well, because it's something that you can't answer because it's not here. You know what I mean? People, they always put that, you know what I mean? They put that like that's a boundary on me. Well, Cus will look at you and be ashamed. I'm my own man now. I'm me. I'm my own man.
Your finances, are you comfortable with your finances, your money, the control you have over your money?
Absolutely. You know what I mean? About a situation like that, when I was in this situation, no one never, you know what I mean, approached me with something like that before when I was out in the streets, you know what I mean? Now this is only a ploy for somebody to attack Don or do something like that. You know what I mean? I'm very happy with my finance just because someone else may not know anything about my finance, or might come up with a sheet and say, well, he has nothing. And then next week they'll come up with a sheet, what happened to this money? They don't show no account of what happened to this 45 million or this 20 million, and now all of a sudden I'm hiding money. And if I was hiding money, and if it's my money, I haven't stolen it, isn't it my business to do what I want with it?
Do you know what you have?
Well, I have a ballpark figure, yes.
And you know where it is, and you have control of it?
Well, like I was saying, it's my business, and no one else should worry about how much money I have. You know what I mean? No one should worry about how much Donald Trump had. I never asked how much he had. I never asked how much the Rockefellers or the Rothschilds had, or Magic Johnson, any athlete by that. Nobody asks about that. Why all of a sudden they want to worry about me by putting me in a situation? Because the fact is, they can't take away, which I know, that I'm a great fighter. So they say, God, he's a great fighter. People admire him for that. But let's put him like he's a great fighter, but he's dumb and he's stupid. So, you know what I mean? He's nobody to look up to. Which I just, that's okay, because only time will tell. I mean, that's just time will tell.
You mentioned Don King. What about Don King?
No, Don King is just like anyone else. Anybody else that's in big business. He's competitive. He competes with them. You know what I mean? He's the best at what he does, whatever it is. You know what I mean? He broke all the records, all the P.T. Barnum, Ziegfeld records. You know what I mean? He breaks all those records. And he's ornery and he's arrogant. You know what I mean? He says, well, he's not under control. You don't control him. You can't say, well, Don, you take this and you do this, but you got to take. I mean, he wants the American way. He wants to get the equal share of the pie.
Does he take advantage of you?
Everyone uses someone. He uses me. I uses him. The worst thing, we never misuse one another. We respect one another. I never cut it. Don is my man, and that's what it is to it.
Coming up next, for the first time outside of court, Mike Tyson talks about the night that changed his life and the life of a teenage beauty contestant named Desiree Washington.
We went upstairs, and we went in my room. So when I closed the door, we went in my room. We sat on my bed. She sat on my bed.
Far and Away is a...
And our exclusive interview with Mike Tyson. One writer compared it to a collision between a tank and a tricycle. The tank was Tyson at 240 pounds. The tricycle, a 108-pound teenage beauty contestant named Desiree Washington. What happened? Desiree Washington convinced an Indiana jury it was rape. Mike Tyson, as you are about to hear, says it was something else altogether. However, Tyson and Washington do agree on one thing. It started when he asked her out in Indianapolis last July 19th.
Mike, if a woman agrees to go out with you, does that automatically mean that she's agreed to have sex with you?
Well, absolutely not. Absolutely not. See, this was a situation where we had discussed things that were going to happen, what we were planning on doing, you know what I mean? And we have discussed something. This is something that's been discussed and planned, and you say, well, since she's going out, she has to do it. She can't eat a free meal. You give me like that ghetto mentality, of course, like when I'm stereotyped. She can't get a free meal without giving me something or something like that, which is, you know what I mean, it's just perverted. You even saying that to me. You know what I mean?
She has told her version publicly on television. What was it that made you feel that she wanted to have sex with you?
Well, as we spoke earlier that day. We had spoke earlier that day, and we had planned on the situation. You know, everything was arranged, and then I seen her again, and it was arranged again. I seen her twice that day, and we arranged it then again, and that's how I came to that conclusion.
There was no doubt in your mind?
In neither one of our minds.
Then let me just ask you to tell me, as you recollect, what happened that night?
I called her. I think she was tired or something. I said, don't worry about it. Just comb your hair and put water in your face. And I asked her to wear something short, like a short dress or some wide, loose, baggy shorts. And she came in the car, we kissed, and we were making out, okay? Fooling around, and then we drove right around the corner to my hotel room. We got out of my hotel room, we went upstairs, and we went in my room. So when I closed the door, we went in my room, we sat on my bed, she sat on my bed in somewhat of a Buddha position, you know, and the legs across, and she was talking, and we started kissing. And she started pulling off her clothes, she was getting hot, she was getting aggressive, and I thought, we had oral sex, and then eventually we had vaginal sex, and after it was over, I invited her to stay. I said, because I'm tired, perhaps, because you had to get up at around 5 or 6, and I had to leave at approximately 2 hours. We both had the same schedule, approximately, but she didn't want to go, but she wanted me to walk her downstairs, and I didn't want to walk her. I said, well, my limo's down, so you can take the limo, but I'm sorry, I'm tired, and I have to get up, and I just can't walk you. Maybe I should have just walked her downstairs or something. We should never cry over spilled milk, of course, but maybe I should have just walked her downstairs, you know, it's Christ. And the next week I heard about this.
And you're saying that she never said no?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, she said that I hit him, I cried, I did anything to get him to stop, nothing worked.
Oh, right, really, please. You know what I mean? Come on, that wasn't true. In a hotel room, in the middle of the night, where you know walls probably echo because it's so quiet, you know, and she screamed, and then she's gonna say she's in shock. She walked downstairs. Evidently, me, the person, you know what I mean, she told me she's in shelter, please. And if anybody would attack me, as soon as I get out in the hallway, I'm gone. I lost it. I'm in the twilight zone. Woo, help, yes, help, right here, knocking on people's doors. Come in, this guy's right in here. Please help me, or whatever. You know what I mean? That's absurd. Well, I'm scared because he's Mike Tyson. That's, I mean, they insult the American intelligence, you know what I mean, to believe something like that. You know, this is something, I mean, that you don't have to be F. Lee Bailey. I mean, you don't have to be F. Lee Bailey at all to decipher the bull crap. You know what I mean? And it upsets me so much because there's people out there, you know what I mean, that have that kind of mentality, you know what I mean, that will believe something. You know what I mean? It's astonishing that what people believe.
The truth of the matter of what happened that night then is what?
That she was not raped.
The Indiana jurors didn't believe Tyson. They believed Desiree Washington, and in February convicted Tyson of rape. Desiree Washington has refused to talk to us about Tyson or that night in Indianapolis. But the fighters' problems there were not limited to what happened with Miss Washington. Tyson was in town attending the Miss Black America beauty pageant. And some witnesses say from the moment he arrived, there was trouble.
Oh, I'm in a dream day after day. Beautiful women, such an array.
Some of the women around Tyson that day say he was doing more than rapping.
He put his arm around me, and I thought it was going to my waist, but it went to my rear end, and he rubbed it and squeezed or whatever, and I knocked his hand off of me, and I told him not to disrespect me in that manner.
Former Miss Black America Rosie Jones is suing Tyson for $100 million.
It's not so much the money, it's the fact that he's not above the law, and right now I believe he thinks that he is.
All of the women wanted him, you know, from the top models to, you know, every woman, you know.
Model Beverly Johnson says it's not so simple. She knew Tyson at the height of his fame and sees sexual aggression as a two-way street.
I mean, he used to come back and tell me some stories. Wow, this girl did this, and this girl liked me, and this one wanted me, and I went from this room to that room, and this room to that room. I'm going, wow.
But along with the fame came accusations, often in the form of million-dollar lawsuits, that when it came to women, Tyson was out of control. One of the strongest accusations came on ABC's 2020 from his then-wife, Robin Givens.
He shakes, he pushes, he swings. Sometimes I think he's trying to scare me.
I tried to scream, but he has his hand over my mouth.
Recently, Bill Cosby's daughter, Erin, claimed that she, too, had been attacked by Tyson.
And he locked the door, and he ran after me, and the next thing I know, I'm on the ground, on my stomach, you know, with my hands behind my back. You know, it was just a lot of struggling.
Aaron Cosby said that you tried to rape her and that her father, when he heard about it, got you to agree to go into therapy. Is that true?
Well, I could give you some answers, and you could tell me if they're true. You know what I mean? I never been to therapy. He never told me he wanted me to go to. He never told me personally that he wanted me to go to therapy. He's seen me a number of times after the incident happened. Never confronted me with any issues about that or anything. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? What Aaron is saying is not true at all.
And the women at the contest that day in Indianapolis who said that you fondled a number of women.
But listen, you must understand what kind of atmosphere. When you make that statement, you come across as if I just ran in that hall, right, and no, it wasn't like that. It was a joyous atmosphere. People who grabbed me, you know what I mean? They all, like 15, 20, something like, they tagged me, grabbed me, and we're talking crap, and we're speaking as young, healthy, black, young adults do. We're talking crap and this and that, and things occurred. You know what I mean? After this situation happened, and people all start saying, well, maybe I can get something out of it, maybe then their mind, the wheels start rolling in another direction then. But at that particular situation, there was no complaints about anything.
So it wasn't initiated by you. You just participated.
Absolutely.
They come after you as much as you go after them.
Please, guys, this is something I don't even have to explain to you. You know what I mean? People know who I am, and people know I have money, and people know I'm young. You know what I mean? So they put the two together: young, black, single, with money, usually by himself, never protective, because that's the kind of guy. I'm always loose. I'm like, and that's dangerous because you gotta use that with the same stereotype as the sheep that flocks away from the crowd, and he's out there, now he's alone. Now the wolves could trap him off, corner him off, and kill him. And that's how my situation was. I'm a loner, and that's my only downfall, because that's my nature. I'm always alone. I'm always moving.
You think women used you or tried to use you?
Of course they did, but look, I looked at it from the standpoint, you know what I mean? I was young, you know what I mean? I wanted to have fun. I enjoyed having fun. And maybe I took it further, maybe me wanting to be with some girl or make love to a girl, whatever. Do that, but they probably had something different, you know what I mean? I had in my mind what I wanted, but they never let me know what they wanted, you know what I mean? So maybe that's my fault for not knowing, not saying, well, what do you want from this situation?
You say people who don't know you, people form impressions about you. Here's a guy who is strong, who's black, who's uneducated, who's a heavyweight champion. He thinks he can have whatever he wants. How do you respond to people who look at you and think that that's true?
90%, 80% of the people believe what they read. And, I mean, that has a big effect on people. If they ever got a chance to know me, they would think differently. They would think totally differently. They would know I'm just like everyone. I like to play. I like to fool around. I like to chew fat. You know what I mean? It's like I do basically any young 25-year-old do. I used to all my life. That's the way I am. I'm just normal. And that's why I'm in trouble, because I'm normal and slightly arrogant. You know what I mean? I get a little arrogant because I'm confident, and I know whatever I do, I know I'm the best at it, you know, and people get upset with that, but you know what I mean? That's a part of me which a lot of people don't like, because a lot of people don't like themselves, and I happen to be totally in love with myself. You know what I mean? People take offense to that.
When it comes to Tyson and women, it's often a question of whom you want to believe. Rarely are there any independent witnesses. But tonight, for the first time, you're about to hear from one. She told Harold Dow she was one of 3 women who just happened to be at that Indianapolis hotel when Tyson and Washington arrived.
I know what I saw. I know what day I was here. I saw Mike Tyson kissing a woman at 1:30 in the morning outside this hotel.
More importantly, did you see her kiss him?
They were kissing each other.
Carla Martin was not allowed to testify at the trial. The judge said, in effect, that Martin didn't add anything important to Tyson's defense. But Tyson's lawyers say she directly challenges Desiree Washington's credibility. Washington testified that while they were in the limousine in front of Tyson's hotel, he didn't try to touch her or express any affection.
I was sitting in a car. The car was parked about right here. A limousine pulls up, and I could see 2 people kissing, but as the car pulls up to here, I'm looking dead in the back of this car, okay? And they're kissing all over each other right here.
She looked like she wanted to be where she was at?
Yes.
In his arms, kissing him?
Yes. She got out of the car first.
Okay.
Okay? And she was just kind of standing here, and then he got out about where you're standing. But he had turned this way. That's how I knew it was him, because I was sitting here. And she walked up.
Grabbed him in the arm like that?
And they walked in.
Inside the hotel together?
As far as them kissing or not, I can say, yes, she was kissing him. So, yes, she did lie. She kissed him, you know. But as far as him committing the rape, I can't say whether he did it or not. You understand? Because I was not there.
Tyson's lawyers hoped to get a new trial partly because Carla Martin was not allowed to testify. Her testimony in court could threaten Desiree Washington's credibility. It was contradictions in Tyson's testimony, telling a slightly different story to the grand jury than in the trial, that jurors say helped convict him. In a moment, startling revelations from another big man who's walked in Tyson's shoes.
You're number one in your bedroom, you're number one in your bathroom, you're number one going down the street. It's probably a little too much for a young man.
Mike Tyson's troubles are not unique. Just ask other fighters. That's what Harold Dow did. He discovered that often the most formidable force a boxer can face is not necessarily in the ring, but sometimes in himself.
When you're heavyweight champ of the world, you believe that you can get away with anything.
George Foreman knows what it's like to be on top.
You're number one in your bedroom, you're number one in your bathroom, you're number one going down the street. It's probably a little too much for a young man.
You get caught up into the game, the lie.
Tony Ayala found that out after he hit bottom.
You sometimes convince yourself that you can buy your way out of any problem, that you don't need to adhere to the rules, that you can make your own rules.
My dream is to be champion of the world, too.
But young boxers like James Butler don't worry about the price they have to pay.
Have you thought about any of this? I mean, yeah, I thought about it a lot. I just say, yo, I just got to deal with it when it come along, you know.
Butler is 19, a Golden Gloves middleweight champ from Harlem. Inside the ropes, Tyson is a role model, but outside?
He didn't know how to control himself. He didn't know how to control himself. And all that fame and fortune, man, you did something to go to jail on. I mean, it don't make any sense.
The same thing that's going wrong with Mike Tyson went wrong with George Foreman also. A lot of people don't know, in 1976, I was in New York City. Just got into a big scrape with a young lady. I mean, in trouble, fighting. Here was the major detectives and police in my hotel room. And they talked to the lady. She wanted me arrested. And they said, well, you know, this is it. And it was over the board. I was guilty in the whole deal. I came within inches of the same thing that happened to Mike Tyson.
The 43-year-old Foreman has turned himself into a positive role model since those wild days as champion.
I used to have a lot of problems with the police.
Now he wants kids to join the police.
If you'll sign up and get on the beat sick.
Not run from them. He'd like the chance to talk to Tyson.
He's at a stage where he needs people to know, hey, I care about you. Don't want anything, I just care about you. When you're young, you become heavyweight champ of the world. The downside is there's no one to tell you, hey, stop.
Stop what?
Stop this, you know. Don't push the woman. Don't cuss the police. Don't speed. Don't commit this, don't commit that. Who can tell you when you're this magnificent force that everybody's afraid of it? You consider yourself the baddest man on the planet. Who can tell you no?
And sometimes things can spin totally out of control.
I had it all, and you know, it got away from me.
When Mike Tyson was starting out as a young boxer, he admired the savage fighting style of an undefeated middleweight named Tony Ayala. Ayala was called El Torito, the Little Bull. Today, Ayala is known as inmate number 69765 at this state correctional facility in Rahway, New Jersey.
Still undefeated!
Ayala was 22-0, poised for a shot at the middleweight title with his very next fight when he was convicted of rape in 1983. At 20 years of age, he began serving a 35-year sentence with no hope for parole until 1998.
When we spoke to Mike, he said, I didn't do anything. I shouldn't be here. I didn't rape this woman.
You can't fix an engine if it isn't broken. And the only one who knows whether the engine is broken, whether there's a problem with Mike Tyson or not, is Mike Tyson.
A few years ago, Ayala was alarmed by the controversy swirling around Tyson's personal life and tried unsuccessfully to phone him.
What would you have said to Mike?
I probably would have spoken to him quite strongly, listening. jerk, stop this behavior. You're destroying this, you're destroying that, you're hurting this, you're hurting that.
George Foreman also thought he could see where Tyson was heading.
He left a trail behind him ever since he was 19. Basically, he didn't surround himself with a lot of people who really cared about him.
Certainly those around him should have had a serious talk with Mike Tyson. But the brunt of the responsibility for what happened should be carried by Mike. He put himself where he's at.
There's no doubt in my mind that Mike Tyson's going to get out of jail and he's going to be a better person because of it. And I think that they shouldn't give up on Mike Tyson. He's going to write a new book, a whole another page in his life in a couple of years. Heavyweight champ of the world, overcome adversity, and a man to be listened to.
And I'm doing this interview only because I want this man to get his life together and go out there, kick some ass, win that title back, and redeem himself. Perhaps because that's what I want to do, and I'm not given that chance.
Send the message. Send the message.
Because there are still people who look up to Mike Tyson.
There you go. That's what you want.
People like James Butler.
Even though he did what people say he did, you know, I'm not gonna stop, you know, saying I admire Mike Tyson. You know, I'm still gonna, you know, I still admire him.
Hook too wide. Hook too wide.
The first night that you were here, when you went in your cell and the door was closed and the lights went out, what thoughts did you have?
I don't know. It wasn't realistic at that point, but I knew, you know what I mean, after being in my cell, I mean, for a couple of days, though, I just said, you know what I mean, cells are horrible. You'll never forget them, you know what I mean, as long as you live. You know, prison itself will always leave, you know what I mean, everlasting effect on me. You know what I mean, you just never forget it. And especially a prison like this, you would never forget it.
Have you thought about the possibility that you may have to do your time, that the appeal may not be granted?
Hey, listen, it's a fact that may happen, you know what I mean? And I look more to the fact that it will happen, you know what I mean? But listen, this, you know what I mean, this is something that I passed, you know what I mean? I'm not dead, you know what I mean? As long as I'm breathing, my brain is functioning, my heart is functioning, I'll prevail.
What do you think is your immediate future?
I basically, I just keep, you know what I mean, go live day by day and wait for the, you know what I mean, see where the chips drop. I might not even want to box. I've been bored with boxing for 4 years already. I might not even want to fight anymore once I get out.
You think about that?
No, I never think about fighting, never.
Do you think if you got out, when you get out, you just give it up?
Yeah.
What would you do?
Huh? I would do something. Cause I'm always going to be on top. And whatever I do, I'm going to be on top of my game. I'm never going to be under drowning. I'm always going to be above sea level.
But the boxing gave you something else that you didn't have.
You must understand. I'm basically, regardless of what you see, money, I'm just Mike, you know what I mean? I'm Lorna Mae's son's Manboy Street. I'm not, you know, I don't get caught up into a big star and all. You know, that's the furthest thing from my mind, you know what I mean? I don't like living like that, so maybe I don't think I want to be a big star no more, if that's what they call me. I don't think I want that no more, because I don't like living like that. I don't like living where everybody, which I found out in here is true, everybody's a potential enemy. Everybody's potential to hurt you, to want something from you. I don't like that kind of life, because I'm just a normal person, extremely to the extreme.
Tyson also told me, though he's out of the ring for a while, he's trying to stay in shape. He fasts 1 week a month and does 600 sit-ups a day. Tomorrow night, heavyweight champ Evander Holyfield faces Larry Holmes. Originally, it was to have been a Holyfield-Tyson fight, a chance for Mike Tyson to try to recapture the heavyweight title. That bout was expected to rake in a record $100 million. Now, with Tyson sitting in prison, the fight hasn't sold out and is not expected to bring in nearly that much. That's Street Stories for tonight. Next week, with summer vacations getting underway, you want to hear the story of some people who never imagined their Rocky Mountain holiday would end in tragedy. Now they're fighting to put it behind them. That story and more next week. Until then, thanks for joining us. I'm Ed Bradley. See you Sunday on 60 Minutes. Good night.